Hey y'all, it's Rick here with Uncommon Communion, recording another video for you. I had hoped to write tonight. Actually, I didn't expect that I would have time to write. It's a busy week. I led the first of a 3-day training today. We had a lot of people. We had 18 people. Usually we have like 10 for something for this particular training, so it's a lot. And then this evening, I spent a couple hours preparing for a special training in my second job, which is going to be tomorrow night. I'll share that with you here in just a moment. I also want to talk about the latest, absolutely aggravating, terrifying, and really, quite frankly, despicable things regarding the Iran war today, or actually Wednesday, because it's still Wednesday as I record this. Well, let's begin as we always begin by recognizing, realizing, celebrating, and affirming that we are always and everywhere in the holy presence of the more and each other. So, before we get to the Iran news, which is absolutely, absolutely aggravating, disgusting, shameful. I mean, the words can just, there's just no limit to the insanity and the words that could be used to describe it. I do want to share a more positive note, which is I'm leading a wine tasting tomorrow, which is pretty cool. I'm going to be doing it at the winery where I work. A little while back, I came up with this idea to brand myself, call myself the wine tasting teacher, because I was a teacher and, well, I'm teaching about wine. Duh, right? But I'm doing it through the winery where I work. I think it should be kind of fun. We're doing it with 4 red wines. And I spent a couple hours tonight preparing little games, kind of quizzes, games, trivia to enrich and, enlighten, enliven what should be, I think, a fun couple of hours on Thursday evening. All right, now to Iran and then to Psalms 64, which is what we are on today. Yeah, y'all, it is just, again, I mean, words can't even adequately describe it. As of this recording, gratefully, we have only lost 6 service people, U.S. service people, which is 6 more service people than should have died for the insanity of this illegal war, right? And I think what it was the most, in a whole series of just terrible things on Wednesday, one of the worst was Pete Hegseth, as I have heard him called, just absolutely, and actually, I think the spokesperson, Carol Levitt of the White House, had the same theme that the military, or excuse me, the media, and again, this is the mainstream corporate oligarch media, as I think we need to call them, even asking questions and publishing front page stories about these servicemen and women. The New York Times had photos of them. Maybe you saw them with their stories. The administration, the regime said that this is negative publicity. This is trying to beat up on the regime. No, that's not what this is. It's called reporting. It's called decency. And to my knowledge, Kegseth and Caroline Levitt and all these other despicable, soulless, absolutely empathetically free, empathetically challenged, empathetically void leaders, administrators are not even saying their names, not even speaking. And again, y'all, this is absolutely, absolutely disgusting. I don't know if you saw this story, but this is a key one. I'll put a link to this in the chat. Yeah, there's people that are using a name, and that name is Jesus. And this is the headline you can see from the story. And I'll encourage you to read it. But more than 200 complaints allege military commanders. This is like the these are like the people that are talking directly to the troops. These complaints allege military commanders framed U.S. strikes on Iran as part of a biblical prophecy invoking the book of Revelation and describing Trump as, quote, divinely anointed, according to the Military Religious Freedom Foundation. Yeah, you can read this story, y'all, and I can't even, I don't even have words for it about how wrong this is, how evil this is, how absolutely in violation of everything that we hold dear with separation of government and religion. And I think also clearly what this shows is, as horrible as it is it shows where the Christian nationalist mindset is, because this is not new, right? The Christian nationalists, along with the extremist Zionists, are partnering in this in their mindsets because they see this as biblical prophecy and blah 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 blah, right? So this is absolutely disgusting, terrifying, and I'll tell you what, y'all, this is has nothing to do with God or Christ or the Gospels, as I think they are meant to be understood, all of those. So I put that here for your perusal and something to continue to be aware of. All right, y'all, I want to just briefly read to you Psalm 64. It's a fairly short one, just 10 verses. Again, it's in a similar vein to what we've heard. And here it is. O great Spirit, hear the voice of my sorrows. Watch over my life and set me free from the fear of my enemies. Hide me from the hidden schemes of this bad-hearted band and the loud threats of these evildoers. They sharpen their tongues like long knives and aim bitter words like poison arrows. They hide behind bushes and rocks to ambush those with good hearts. Then suddenly, without warning, they fearlessly shoot their arrows. They band together and plot evil against others. They talk about setting traps and say, who will see us? As they scheme about their evil ways, they say, we have hatched a cunning plot. Human hearts are beyond knowing and filled with deep and dark ways. The Creator will shoot his arrows, and suddenly, without warning, they will be wounded. They will stumble and fall as the Great Spirit turns their schemes against them. All who see them will shake their heads in wonder. They will make all tremble with fear. They will make known the works of the Great Spirit and think about the things he has done. Those who walk his good road will find joy in Grandfather. Those good-hearted ones will take shelter in him and sing honor songs as they dance their prayers. Yeah, again, so similar to other Psalms, and yet each one of these has a different take, a different translation, different things that jump out to us. And I think the one that I am most sort of finding relevant, and again, that's part of our activity, our exercise here, right, is each day as we encounter a psalm, what echoes do we see? What relevance do we find in our current events and in our the world, our lives that we are living? And I think it's this one right here. They band together and plot evil against others. They talk about setting traps and say, who will see us? Yeah, y'all, that's really at the heart of this, right? These people are doing these things. They're saying these things. And by them, I mean the leaders, the administrators in the regime, right? Believing that there is no accountability. And there will be, there must be, right? When the power changes, and it will, and it must, there must be accountability. And I'll tell you what, y'all, any Democrat who is going to get my vote as we look at the elections that are upcoming in the midterms, and then certainly in 28 for president, is going to be emphatic about accountability. You know, there was a time, the last time we had an absolutely criminal in the White House, Richard Nixon. Remember that Gerald Ford pardoned him, right? And that cannot happen again. There must be accountability. There must not be pardons. And if there's federal pardons that T. Rump or his successor gives, well, then, y'all, we need to look at federal. That's a card that has not yet been played. Governors have a lot of leeway about things they can do. And when there were crimes committed in their state, their attorneys general can file investigations and charges and so forth. And those federal cases are impervious to presidential pardons. All right, y'all. So time to wrap up. Busy day tomorrow for me. I got to get to bed. It's already kind of late. Let's pray as we always do here, as we often do, not always, but often. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, O God, not ours, be done. All right, y'all. Be well, or excuse me, blessing and good. Be bold, be well, hold fast, y'all.